Our next panel, panel 3, is Made on the Space Coast. I'd like to bring up all that panel right now, and I'm going to just say a little bit about Donnie as he's coming up and the panel. So we have Jessica, Scott, Joe, and Alvadi. If you can come and take your place. Donnie Casey is the moderator, and he is made He is, serves as the Director of Supplier Development, and in his role, Donnie supports manufacturers by helping them identify opportunities for growth, navigate supply chain challenges, and strengthen their connections within Florida industrial ecosystem. Previously, Donnie served as Executive Director of the Manufacturers Association of Central Florida, MACF, from 2021 to 23, a Central Florida native. His manufacturing journey began back in 1990 as a CNC operator and evolved into a dynamic career spanning shop floor leadership, business development, and executive roles across aerospace, defense, medical, and commercial sectors. Here we are, made on the Space Coast. Thank you.
So I think we're going to get started with a video. Talks a little bit about FloridaMakes. One thing I do want to mention before they play the video is first, thanks to Florida Trend for allowing us to use this video and reproduce it, putting it out there to begin with. And then I kind of want to jump to the idea of if you have any questions you want to submit, we'll do our best to get to them, but on your tables, there's little cards. Just fill them out. You'll see we've got a very dynamic group. The folks that are here are very, very special to this community and to the manufacturing space. So I'm excited to get started. I guess we'll kick the video up.
Hi, I'm Kevin Carr. I'm the CEO of FloridaMakes. So FloridaMakes is part of a larger national network of what's referred to as the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. It's an extension center directed at manufacturing, and in particular small manufacturers. 80% of Florida's manufacturing companies have 20 or less employees. And the idea there is to go out and work with small firms and help them adopt newer, more advanced manufacturing methods and technologies, help them with their workforce, help them with growth. So that's our principal focus, to make U.S. manufacturing, and in our case, Florida manufacturing, that much more competitive. Florida is not widely recognized as a manufacturing state, but in fact it is, and it's growing faster than any of the states in the U.S. Our workforce and our GDP, and even in the company count. When we started working back in 2015, there was about 19,000 manufacturers. It's up to about 26,000 manufacturing establishments. Some of the big anchor industries that everybody know about: aviation, aerospace, commercial space. That's a big driver of Florida's economy right now. Defense manufacturing is another big one. Boat manufacturing, semiconductors and electronics manufacturing. Another big one is medical device, medical manufacturing. So Florida has these core industries, but they're spread out and they're diverse. We don't have a lot of headquarters, but we have a lot of those foundation industries that I would say. I think one of the biggest challenges that manufacturing has, if you ask any manufacturer what's your biggest issue, they'll tell you workforce. And I think a lot of sectors will say that, but manufacturing, that's been solidly that case. And part of the challenge there is not understanding, or rather maybe a misunderstanding of what the opportunities are within the sector. I visited one of the colleges and they had a really high attendance in their advanced manufacturing program, and I asked them once, how do you market this? How are you getting people to join this? And they said, a lot of it's in the packaging. I said, well, give me an example. They said, well, we don't call it manufacturing. It's robotics and mechatronics. You want people to come from manufacturing? No, I'm not interested. Robotics and mechatronics, they are. So part of what we have to deal with when it comes to the workforce is a perception issue. This is a dark, dirty, dangerous business, and that's not the case anymore. You could eat off manufacturing floors in this century, so it's not the case.
Okay. I'm going to correct one thing there. You know, Kevin, great guy and all, but video might be a little bit old. We're closer to 28,000 manufacturers now, so we're growing at a rapid pace. Has a lot to do with this community. Has a lot to do with Florida as a whole. We're a very, very special group. I'd say this ecosystem supports what we're doing, and the family of manufacturers, and I say family because family kind of permeates through every one of these organizations. It's a very, very special thing to be a part of. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at and doing what I'm doing today. I grew up in this space and absolutely adore the people that work in it. Great ecosystem. I'm going to kick it over to Jessica with Rogue Valley, talk a little bit about her company.
Yeah, thanks, Donnie. It's great to be here. So our company is what they call a MEMS foundry. We're in the semiconductor business, and what we do is we work with customers all over the world. We take their designs and we fabricate the actual chip for them. We have supported many different industries. Some of the main ones are biotech industry, right? Aerospace and defense is a really big one. We're starting to do more with optical companies, of course, other semiconductor companies, and so it's been a great journey for us. We started out as a really small company back in 2003. It was started by my husband and myself. We did it with the proceeds from the sale of our house and decided we were going to build a clean room manufacturing space, which was a lot harder than we thought it would be. You can imagine that. But 20 years later, I mean, we're still going strong, and we now have a really special place in the semiconductor and MEMS community. One of the things that is a bit unique about our company and our where we serve the market is that we start working with our customers pretty early on in their product development cycle. Sometimes these chips and this technology maybe has never been made before, and we'll work really closely with the R&D team, their engineering team, our engineering team together to create a functional device for them so that they can start getting data. And a lot of times that could end up a 2, 3, 4, 5 year, even longer process to get to the point where you have a commercializable device, and it also has a strong manufacturing process to back that up, which is really important when you're going to market. And so we've had customers that we've been working with for many, many years in that mode. About 2, 3 years ago, we found the Space Coast. We'd been looking for a place to expand our business. We'd been running at capacity for quite some time, and we found our building in Palm Bay. And we're super excited to be here. We are, the building that we have, we're installing clean room in. We cleared out about 20,000 square feet of manufacturing space. We're planning to hire about 75 employees. And there's something that I want to also say before I wrap up that's really special about the facility here on the Space Coast, and that is, in our industry, for the types of specialty devices that we manufacture, in the U.S., there isn't a manufacturer right now that can make these chips on the state-of-the-art wafer size. So they're made on silicon in batches. The largest size is 12 inches in diameter. There isn't a company that exists right now that can make MEMS devices in a commercial foundry on that size with all of the specialty materials, gold, platinum, all the things that you can't expose an IC fab, like an Intel type fab to. And so it's a very special facility. It's going to be special to the industry, and we're really proud to have that here on the Space Coast. Thank you.
Excellent. That's actually great. So next, we're going to move to structural composites, and I believe, Scott, we have a video that we're going to play that talks a little bit about you guys.
SCI offers great services such as designing, tooling, and manufacturing.
Our comprehensive skill sets foster a collaborative environment combining a wide range of ideas and approaches that lead to innovation.
Innovation is at the core of what we do. It's important. It forms the foundation for many of the fundamental technologies we've developed.
Composites is your full-service composite company with cutting-edge products and technology to take your innovative ideas to the reality.
Manifest Engineering is here to help educate and empower you to execute your game-changing ideas.
Excellent video. So next, we're going to move to Joe, who's representing Lockheed Martin here today. And I believe we have a video for you as well, Joe.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Our return to the moon will be different than the last time. We plan to explore more of the lunar surface and learn
Space
how
Launch
to
System
live
is now counting down to liftoff of Orion on its maiden voyage to the moon. And here we go. Hydrogen burn-off igniters initiate. 7, 6, 5, 4-stage engine start. 3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
We are all part of something incredibly special, the first launch of Artemis.
This view of Earth from a human-rated spacecraft not seen since 1972 during the final Apollo missions.
Distant retrograde orbit. We're going to be about 38,000 miles away from the lunar surface. We're going beyond anywhere we ever went for Apollo.
The Orion spacecraft is barreling its way back home after circumnavigating the moon and beyond in an elliptical distant retrograde orbit. Splashdown. Orion back on Earth.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Pellegrino. I'm a senior manager for... Okay, another video.
You're still going, Joe.
All right, third try. All right, so my name's Joe Pellegrino. I'm a senior manager for Lockheed Martin on the Orion program. About 15 miles from here, not far, every day, 7 days a week, hundreds of people are assembling and testing the Orion spacecraft. Orion is a key element of NASA's Artemis moon mission. You saw a video there of the successful Artemis 1 mission that happened in 2022. That was a mission that really validated the design of our spacecraft. Looking ahead, Artemis 2 is a manned mission with 4 astronauts on board. It will do a figure 8 around the moon. When those astronauts are on the far side of the moon, that's the furthest humans have ever been from Earth. So that satellite has been completed by Lockheed Martin. It's been delivered to our partners in Exploration Ground Systems. The spacecraft has been fueled. This week, we installed the launch abort system, and in early October, it'll make its way to the VAB, where the SLS rocket is waiting for us. So also, we have Artemis 3 in the factory right now. That will be the return to the moon mission. We have Artemis 4 there as well. We also have Artemis 5 crew module arriving next week. So all of this is very much happening here on the Space Coast. Certainly the Orion spacecraft has to be one of the coolest things made not only in Florida, here on the Space Coast.
Yeah, I have to agree. That video actually gave me a few butterflies there, Joe. That was pretty special. That was a special moment in collaboration that came together to do something great, you know, and that's something this community continues to show up and do. And we're a unit doing really
It's a great mission. You know, traditionally, the Kennedy Space Center has been a place where you bring your payload, right? You bring your satellite here, we will fuel it, we'll encapsulate it, we'll launch it, but that's no longer the case, right? We have engineering happening here at the Kennedy Space Center. Assembly, test, you know, environmental test, all done here. We call it ATLO, right? Assembly, test, launch operations, all done here on the Space Coast.
Very, very special. So now we're going to jump to Alvadi with Embraer, and I believe you have a video as well, Alvadi, so we'll go ahead and kick that up. Amazing, right here. Those are built right here on the Space Coast. It's such a special community. So I'm going to take 1 second. I'm going to just tell you guys a little bit about me, and it's going to be really short and quick, but it'll kind of set up the questions, and it'll set up some of what we come up with to talk about. I consider myself to be a machine brat. Grew up here running CNCs when I was 12 years old, and I've worked in this space and done all kinds of stuff. Started with one machine, went on to 35 plus machines in that particular facility. Bounced around, and I grew up around this area, and I've watched things innovate. We've built parts for Lockheed Martin. I've watched these shops kind of transition and go. These last 4 years, I've got a chance to work for FloridaMakes, and I've got to see so many different manufacturing facilities and meet so many quality people in this ecosystem. It's such a special community. So that little bit of a story about me and where I came from and how I got to where I got is kind of special to me, and it kind of shows it doesn't really matter. You start on this journey and you can get to some pretty cool spots and get to have mentors and associate with people that are very special. what Nancy's put together, or what this team has put together here today, when you look around this room, and I think 600 or so people signed up to be here today, that's what's special, is connecting all the way across this room with one another. The only sad part about this process is that we can't connect enough. There's way too many conversations to be had. But do the best you can. They put you at a table for a reason. Make sure you're talking to those folks. Make sure you get to know them. So now I'm just going to ask each one of the panelists to just tell me a little bit about your journey, you know, where you came from, how you landed here, you know, what did that look like? We can start on either end. Do you want to start, Jessica?
Sure, I'll start. I talked a little bit about how we found the Space Coast. My personal journey, I started in the semiconductor industry while I was going to community college. I had tried going to college full-time for a while, and I was exhausted and broke. And so I ended up reducing some of my class load and said, I'm going to go part-time and I'll find a full-time job. And my first full-time job happened to be at a semiconductor manufacturing facility. The name of the company was Standard Microsystems. And I was just hired as a minimum wage lab operator, not even technician. And I learned this industry from really the ground up. I had a lot of amazing people at that job who took the time to train me, took the time to really invest in providing me with the deeper understanding of what I was actually making. Instead of just saying, you know, here, move this widget there, push that button, they really took the time to dig in and explain the theory behind what we were doing as a company as a whole. And that really started off my career. My husband and I moved to Southern California to work for a startup. Lots and lots of fun. Didn't last very long. And we decided that we didn't want to go from startup to startup every year, so we were going to start our own company. It seems like bad logic, probably was at the time, but it worked out for us.
Amazing journey, right?
Yeah, it really has been.
Scott, you want to?
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming today. And yeah, I came here, I decided to move to Brevard when I was in 10th grade. I lived up in Long Island. And for those of you about my age, there was a show, Jacques Cousteau, the undersea world of Jacques Cousteau, and all the little fishies in the sea. And I'm like, we didn't have Rachel's programs back then in career technical education. So you're in 10th grade, you got to pick what you're going to be for your whole life. You have no idea. So I said, I'm going to be an oceanographer. And so Florida Tech came right into view. And so ended up coming here, got my bachelor's in oceanography, and right towards the end of my degree, my partner now, Dr. Reichard, came in. He was just finishing his PhD, his first job, and we were in a class that combined oceanography and ocean engineering, and I kind of blew the engineers out of the water. And so he started recruiting me to grad school, which I didn't really want to go to. And he said, oh, I'll pay for you to go to grad school. And I'm like, I don't know. And he goes, well, I'll pay for you to go to grad school, and you can run the Bahamas Research Station in the summer.
Oh, that's good.
There you
That's
go.
where my head was at.
There you go.
Right? So that's why I went to grad school. I went and did the Bahamas Research Station. We had houses out there at the time of just great experience. While that was happening, the material world was really changing. And the aerospace industry has been a driver for a lot of material innovations. And the boats you see and the composites you see actually started in aerospace and came down. And some of these materials in the 80s were starting to trickle out of the aerospace industry and come into the marine industry, and nobody knew how to use them. And so Dr. Ron started doing the analysis, the methods. And, you know, frankly, we walked into a void. Nobody was out there doing it. Everybody's chasing aerospace. Not many people chasing boats. We love boats. So despite ourselves, we managed to succeed. And in the 90s, it was rough. We were in a pole barn at Florida Tech, Cooper's old garage where he kept his NGB collection. You know, we're living on contracts. It was a roller coaster. I said, you know, people don't want to innovate. We have all these ideas, and they just don't want to do it. So I said, let's just do it ourselves. So we formed Composites, you see there, 94. And we invented a product called Prisma Preforms. So Prisma kind of took the boating industry by storm. Back in the 90s, we took the wood out of boats. We took half the weight out of boats. We took the material that makes the boat's life limit go away. We're taking boats, dropping power, or putting more power on and going faster. And we earned our mark in manufacturing with the Prisma product line. And at the same time, over at Structural Composites, we're working heavy in a lot of different industries. The Small Business Innovative Research Program. If you don't know about it, make sure you come by our booth, let me tell you about it. We tapped into the SBIR program. We won one of those back when we were in the pole barn, okay? 2009, we won a really nice SBIR for combatant craft, and we developed a shock mitigating boat. It's these little boats that go on ships. Our warfighters are running them. They get hurt all the time because it's rough conditions. And we took a design for stunt boats we had done at Universal, for those of you who go way back from the Stuntacular show, and we modified it to make a shock mitigating boat. And through that program, it led to another invention that we call CoCure. And this is if you're geeked on materials, it's a cool material. It's 4 chemicals, and you can blend these 4 chemicals and make millions of different properties. You can be rigid or elastic or rubbery just by changing this ratio. And it was a cool invention. It really helped limit what was holding back composites. It wasn't the cheap composites we use in boats aren't tough enough, and this and that. So that breakthrough allowed us then to penetrate into the transportation market, and we brought Wabash in. So we started a different business model. About 2009, I said, you know, what are we going to be when we grow up? How are we going to do this? I realized having a manufacturing company, growing that and taking over the world is not something I want to do. And so the idea came is let's partner up with big OEMs that we're not in those markets. Let's see if we can attract them. Let them scale our technology. And we found Wabash, the world's largest trailer manufacturer, a $3 billion company. They're an equity partner in our company. And all those Kroger delivery vehicles you see running around, that's our technology you're seeing, deployed from a Navy SBIR. We took a $1 million Navy investment, and if you look through the Wabash ecosystem, it's about a $750 million national impact. We then took that same technology, moved it into rail with Trinity, making lighter, more efficient rail cars. We took the technology and put it into bridge decks. So 3.5 years ago, the first composite bridge in Tennessee is our bridge deck, complete with fiber optic structural health monitoring. On Monday, every finger crossed, we're submitting a bid to replace the Canaveral sector gates with composites. These are, each gate is 188,000 pounds, okay? Wabash is our partner, helping manufacture these, so we hope to get a win. All right, we're moving into a lot of different directions.
Everything linking to innovation.
Innovation, right?
Yeah, so, everything.
Yeah, and so to wrap it up, you know, it's like the opposite of what they teach you in business school. I didn't go to business school. Mm-hmm. Focus. And my board always yells at me, Scott, focus, focus. I'm like, no, I'm not going to focus. All right, and it's open aperture business.
Amazing.
That's what I call it. And it's like a boomerang. Throw it out. Doesn't matter how far away it is, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, right? I
Right?
feel so privileged to have you in our community.
And FloridaMakes is a part of our group too.
You know, the growth that we've seen, where you're going, all stemming from innovation, your journey to where you are today, what a special, special route.
And just to give a shout out to you guys at FloridaMakes, you know, we recognize the workforce needs. Wabash was hiring my guys.
Yeah.
Do I get mad? No, I made a workforce development company, Manufacturing Pathways. Mindy's back there, you'll see us at the booth. Yeah. We won a grant from the state of Florida, teamed with FloridaMakes. We have a state-certified pre-apprenticeship program in advanced manufacturing. Next year, we hope to bring that into Rachel's programs over in the high school.
Yeah, very special, very special. Joe, do you want to tell us a little about yourself and how you landed here?
Well, I've been kind of blessed. I knew I was an engineer since those high school, you know, science fair days. I got my bachelor's degree from Texas A&M, mechanical engineering. Was very fortunate that NASA recruited me for my first job training astronauts at the Johnson Space Center. You know, I really wasn't a good student. It really was one manager that was willing to take a chance on me. And really for the next 35 years, I've moved around a lot, trying to gain new experience, new missions. I've worked at 4 NASA centers. I did rovers at JPL. I did a servicing mission at Goddard. I did the shuttle program here. I also worked for OneWeb Satellites, a local company. I was a chief engineer for L3 Harris. And really, it's led to my dream job now with Lockheed. So it was a long, twisted path, but again, I'm just very grateful that I ended up here supporting the Orion mission.
Yeah, we're definitely blessed to have you. Alvadi, you want to talk a little about your journey?
All right, last but not least, well, first of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure and an honor to be in the panel together with you. As you can tell, I am from Brazil, and I've joined Embraer about 21 years ago, and that was right around the time we created the business aviation unit down there. We just had one aircraft, which was a derivative of the ERJ-145. And part of my first job was to come up with the product requirements for the Phenom line of products, which we manufacture here in Melbourne. I am a mechanical engineer. I have a master's degree in aerospace engineering from the equivalent to the MIT in Brazil. And I also have an MBA, and I've worked in Brazil up until 2018 when I was invited to come here, and after that, Brevard County, Melbourne became my home, mine and my family's home. Again, as I said, is a privilege and an honor, and you know, and on behalf of Embraer, we are thankful for the hospitality. And you know, for the opportunity to be in the Space Coast.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for sharing, Alvadi. So we're going to start on your end, Alvadi, and we're going to work back this way with this next question. And so we're going to talk a little about integration and technology. I'm going to spit out a question for the first three, and then a question for Jessica, so you guys can all be thinking about your responses. We're going to try to move this one up a little bit faster. We got a few questions to get in, you guys. So please give us a few examples of how your company integrated technology into the manufacturing process and maybe into your products to increase your competitiveness. That's the question for the first three. Happy to repeat if you need me to for you guys. And then Jessica, we'll focus a little more on technology with you. What are some of the global dynamics that are impacting the semiconductor industry, and how has that informed your growth strategy? So if you don't mind, Alvadi, you go ahead and kick it off, and we'll kind of run through.
Thank you, Donnie. So technology is really at the heart of our competitiveness, both in manufacturing and in the product. On the manufacturing side, I can name a few examples. Materials is one of them, composites. We have also been using lately 3D printing in some of the parts that we have there. We've been growing on digital, so both on the manufacturing and on the product design. We've been able to build the product digitally before bringing it to life physically, so that allows us to save a lot of time and money when it comes to getting the things right. And on the product side, we've been incorporating technologies that were before only available in much bigger, more expensive aircraft into the light jets that we have, and also the mid-cabin aircraft that we manufacture. Things such as glass cockpits on the avionics, full fly-by-wire technology, also head-up display, enhanced vision system. These things were before only available on military aircraft or big commercial airliners. So these are some of the things that we are bringing. We're also on the customer side integrating the latest and greatest when it comes to connectivity, and that ties with OneWeb. It ties with Starlink, because these are the latest when it comes to satellite connectivity for aviation. On the airframe side, we've been integrating better winglets into the airplanes, and we've been making use of clean propulsion. I'm not sure if you know, but in partnership with the airport here in Melbourne, Shelter, and AvFuel, we were able to start bringing sustainable aviation fuel to our operations. So we've been doing our demonstration flights with clean fuel or cleaner fuel than the regular Jet A, and that's been helping us on reducing our carbon footprint when it comes to our operations. So again, as I said, there's a lot, both in manufacturing and in the product, and this is at our heart of our
absolutely state-of-the-art product you guys make. That jet is pretty special. Joe, you want to share a little?
Sure. I'll mention a few things. So You know, Orion has transitioned from the design phase to production. You know, at any given time now, we have 3 satellites in the factory. So we have something called digital transformation that is really helping us move quicker, smarter, and save money. So what does that mean? An example would be augmented reality. We often have complex tasks where you can put on a set of glasses where a combination of what you see with your eyes and then something is superimposed upon it. It could be an image, lines, text. So we're using this technology a lot to perform tasks like routing of a harness or precision drilling or making sure we're putting the right part in the right place. So augmented reality is become a day-to-day technology that we're using there. Another technology that we're using are smart tools. If we have fasteners, if we have 200 fasteners that are all the same and they're all to the same torque, we use electronic torque tools that apply the required torque to each fastener. So we really are focusing on Orion to become more effective and more quick now that we're in this production mode of building spacecraft.
Excellent. Scott?
Yeah, boy, so we're kind of like innovation's our core, so it's a multi-layer cake. So as a small business, one technique we do is we focus a lot on intellectual property. So we've got 43 patents between us and our partners. So with our partners, they're exclusive in the market, but like all the patents we develop with Wabash and Trinity, I'm able to take and open up other markets with it. And so that's a powerful tool for us. Funding innovation is always the challenge, and so for small business, you know, I point to the Small Business Innovative Research Program as America's Seed Fund and really, really powerful. I want to comment on synthetic engineering or the digital thread. It's not for Lockheed anymore, just. All right, it's come to us. All right, so one of the modules we have in our advanced manufacturing program is we have a 10-hour class in synthetic engineering. It teaches you how to use the Unreal 5 gaming engine to develop a synthetic world. You don't need to have a lot of money now. So we're bringing synthetic engineering into a lot of our projects where we're simulating what we're going to do in the synthetic world. It's really good for use cases. A lot of times in boating and everything else, you build it and then you figure out, oh, I can't get it out of my garage, right? All these kind of things. Synthetic engineering is a big deal. It's a really exciting field. We're doing a couple sessions at trade shows coming up here at IBEX and CAMEX. The Navy's actually jumping in with us. They're so excited about it. And that, combined with what's happening with AI, is empowering small businesses to move their productivity scale almost an order of magnitude faster than we did.
Yeah. It actually comes back to talk to the level of talent that we have in the community based on what you see Lockheed's and you guys doing. We're continuing to elevate that space. Jessica, do you want to share really quickly on the
Yeah, so just to make a couple of connections here, you know, Lockheed was talking about, you know, virtual reality, augmented reality. We're actually manufacturing a chip right now for a company that is getting ready to roll this out, and it's going to vastly enhance augmented reality and virtual reality by making those glasses much lighter, easier to use, clearer. So a lot of really amazing things that are going on. Just real quickly, you know, the semiconductor industry, I think, and manufacturing as a whole, up until more recently, you know, we all knew it was very important, but I don't think it was until COVID hit that the general public figured out how very important manufacturing in the U.S. and specifically semiconductor manufacturing really was. And it, you know, started to hit the headlines when you couldn't buy a car because the cars are missing one chip, and they weren't due in for another 6 months. And so, you know, there's a whole bunch of, you know, global dynamics that are going on out in the world right now that are really impacting our industry. We've got, you know, some challenges on the material side. You know, Europe is, you know, talking a lot about banning PFAS materials and different types of materials that are used heavily in the semiconductor and medical industry. That's impacting us, as well as just this kind of changing global dynamic where there's a lot of tension developed between China and the U.S. We've got supply chain on the semiconductor side that's everywhere throughout the entire world. And so when you look at tariffs and you look at, you know, where the concentrations of these materials, equipment, parts that really add to our industry and keep us going, how that's really impacting us when there's things like a pandemic or a natural disaster or a political situation that becomes very, very tricky. And so us as an industry, we're looking at how do we diversify, how do we shore up that supply chain, what are things that we can do to enhance U.S. manufacturing and still be good global citizens and support technology development all over the world, and that can be kind of tricky. So our strategy really is to focus on providing additional capacity. We are, especially in the U.S. and for Europe. So our company is one of a handful that can do what we do. There's one in Europe, there's one in Canada, and one other company in the U.S., and a bunch of smaller companies that can do a variety of parts of this processing, but very rare to find the whole thing. So there's not a lot of us. And so what we've done is we've really tried to build out those strong partnerships with those other companies. And so when we look at the landscape of our business, you know, we don't really view those companies as competitors. We really view them as collaborators. We share customers back and forth, and we're right now doing everything we can to support commercialization, manufacturing, and make sure that we don't have a situation where a really critical, let's say, system can't get a chip that they actually need. So it's been pretty interesting the last few years, and I think it will continue. You know, we'll continue to struggle in a variety of different ways, but that collaboration still remains strong. And so together, you know, we'll find a path forward.
So now, I told you they were a dynamic group, and I had a bunch more questions, just so y'all know. But I know Nancy's going to throw something at me if I don't wrap this up. So I'm sad to say that I got to leave the stage, and she's going to make me do this. But extremely, extremely great group. A couple other things that, you know, definitely hit them up, talk to them about what the future looks like for each of these companies. You know, take a minute and talk to them. Amazing, amazing stuff that's coming out of all four of these companies, and they all serve in this space a little bit differently, but extremely, extremely special group, doing some amazing work, continuing to get better. I'll highlight a couple of things. Lockheed Martin's been working with AI since the 60s. So a big part of what you see happening with artificial intelligence is because of those engineers, those folks that have been playing with it for years. You're gonna see what we're starting here with Rogue Valley, and that chip market's going to continue to expand around that. And with that, I'm going to wrap that up. So this is amazing. I'm so sorry, Nancy. I figured she's going to hit me.
Let's give them a huge